So today I want to talk about these madams or these trainers that usually bring in students and they have to send them to go wash utensils in their house, clean their clothes, clean their houses, and a whole lot of things. And then on top of that, some kind of lessons that has to take, let's say, maximum 1.5 years or a year. The person will stay at your shop because you want to take advantage of the person for almost 3.5 years to 3 years to 4 years before the person will graduate from your place. Now, let me start by saying this. You see, me, I'm into dreadlocks. I train people on dreadlocks and all those things. And I've been training in Ghana and out of Ghana and some other places. And do you know, it only happens in Ghana that anytime I want to train people in Ghana, it is hard for you to convince someone that you can learn everything to do with dreadlocks within 2 weeks. And I can tell you this, even that 2 weeks is too much. It's too long. That duration is too long. Because see, if you go to US and let's not even talk about Europe or these other places. Let's come to Africa. If you go to East Africa, Kenya, South Africa, some other places, people are using 3 days to train, even me, including me. I quite remember last year somewhere, Kumasi, there was a young lady that showed up. I think she showed up when we were almost finishing the whole training in Kumasi. And I told the mom, let her come. Within 3 days, she'll be good. The mother was so much desperate for the kid to learn, so she had no other option but to let the kid come. And trust me, as I'm talking to you right now, that girl is doing so good. There are some certain skills that doesn't need much practicals. We train you on the basic things with mannequin, which is the dummy head. And then when you are done, we just take you through some few practicals with human. Maybe we invite some clients in, then you take care of them 1 or 2 things. And then after that, the rest is for you to go home and do more of practicals. In your household, you can just call your sister, call your brother, but we have to make sure you know what you're doing. For example, we have what we call the crochet. Crochets, if you crochet and the strands are not firm enough, they don't last. So you see, with the mannequin, I make sure that you get it well before I'll give you a client for you to attend to. That is an example. So this thing of, if there is no customer, we can't train you. And I've seen a situation in some salons where you will find the students are sitting down, doing nothing, because there is no client. So the madam is not even around to train them, unless a client calls in for appointment before they will come and put their hands at their back watching. The next thing is clean the shop. Of course, for the shop, they will be cleaning. You have to clean. But when we come to this thing of sending someone out, going on an errand, it's okay if the person is willing to. But this thing of keeping the person, wasting that person's years, that maybe if you could release the person on time, the person could go out there and be doing more of practicals to become perfect. Me, I know some students that when you are like when you're standing next to them, whilst you tell them do this or you instruct them to do this, when you are next to them, they don't even perform well. And all these things you have to learn. It's not all about just training people. You have to learn. You can even identify someone when the person shows up and you notice they'll become nervous. But when you move away, they do so well. I've been training for a very long time, so I know these things. So to my piece of advice to most of these our madams that will keep someone at a working place for almost 3.5 years. And then on top of it, when they even take that 3.5 years, you'll find out that some people doesn't even get the whole thing. You see, because how do you keep someone in your salon for 3.5 years, and then when they are done, you don't even inspect to make sure they know what they are doing? Then you graduate them and then they are gone. Then they'll be doing rubbish out there. You are tarnishing your own brand. And I always have this thing that I say. With business, we have two kinds of people, or 3 types of people. There are others that are just in because of the money. And then there are others that are in because they are building brand. You understand? So, you have to know who you even go to get lesson or to get trained from. Because it makes it hard for me to even convince a Ghanaian. It's only in Ghana that this thing happens here. Anytime I come to Ghana. It's hard for you to convince a Ghanaian that I can train you within 2 weeks. Which that 2 weeks is even too long for you to. Can I be very honest with you? Sometimes you even have to lie to some of them that you take a whole month And then when they come 3 days and you ask them, how is it going? They tell you, this thing I didn't know it would take this short period, right? Because within 3 days I feel like I know everything. Then the rest is now practice. So with the practice as a trainer or as a teacher, you just take them through some few. You bring in some few clients. You make sure, because sometimes you may do it with a dummy, which is the mannequin. And then when it comes to the human, you may see a bit, just like from 0 to 10, you see like 2%, maybe slightly different. And when you get that 2% on top of that 8, you are done. So let's stop this thing of wasting people's time. And because of this, someone who is between 38, 35 cannot come and waste her whole years. I don't know if you guys have noticed this thing in Ghana. Ghana, it's hard for you to find someone who is between his, 30s, going to learn how to do this handiwork thing, unless some kind of a short course. So please, in the line of handiwork or this skillful thing, let's change this narrative or change this duration thing or the way we do our things when it comes to training people. Because you see, give them the right tools. I know some madams don't even know, they have not even sat down to arrange how they are going to, today we are going to do this, tomorrow we are going to do that. No, they just bring in people. And if there's no clients, they are asleep. I've seen a situation where you go to a shop where you find a whole bunch of workers, students. The madam or the teacher is nowhere to be found. Why? Because there's no clients for them to come and surround to look at. My piece of my little thoughts is what I'm bringing in here. But hey, if you have ever wanted to learn any handiwork, just know there are still institutions or some schools that don't take all those things off. Go and wash utensils and all. You just go, you pay your fees, you pay what? They're straight to the point. Within a short time, you become a professional. So please, let's take note of this and let's search. That's it. The name is CK, the Real King of Locks. Aye.